Hey y'all, so this is what's the Bible even talking about? And this is the book of Judges. And so, I get it, like you're probably like me. If you read the Bible and you have questions, and I've had questions, what are we even talking about? What is going on here? And so I have tried to learn and answer those questions in my own life, and hopefully some of them can be answered on here. So the book of Judges, it's the seventh book in the Bible. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. Judges is a record of Israel getting into the promised land and kind of placing themselves in their respective inheritances and areas and kind of doing their own thing up and down. They serve the God of Israel and then forget him for a period of time, and then there'll be a deliverer. There's 12 deliverers, saviors. There's 12 generals, people that show up and win the day, so to speak. And so in Judges, that happens. It's like kind of a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. Israel gets the victory and then goes back into oppression under some nation, and then someone deals with the nation. Some leader shows up and deals with the nation that's oppressing them, and then they're free for a while, and then they go back under oppression. And so Judges has some famous people in it. Gideon, you might have heard of Gideon. He is said to be a man of faith in his famous 300-man army that fights the Midianites. And then lesser known, maybe Jephthah. He's a man of faith in Hebrews 11. And then probably the more famous one is Samson. He is kind of the last of the judges, and he is said to essentially do more for the Lord in his death than he does in his life. And those men, Samson happens in chapter 16, and after that you kind of go, there's four or five more chapters, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and in those chapters you kind of go back in time, as far as it's not chronological. It's chapters 17 through 21 seem to be happening earlier on in the book, or that's where they're placed in a timeline. But so these judges, up and down, up and down, up and down. They deliver the nation of Israel. The nation goes back into oppression. This goes on and on. The theme that's kind of persistent in there is that there's no king in Israel, and so everybody's just doing whatever they think is right. So everything that Moses laid out as far as how to conduct business as a culture, and as far as how to live as people in a society, they're loosely sort of sometimes following some of that, but generally they're not. And so this is what Judges is. The end is just a kind of a mess. It's very similar to Genesis 19, the whole Sodom and Gomorrah episode in Genesis 19, and then the very end of Judges explains why one of the regions in Israel becomes as influential as it does. So in a place called Dan, there is a separate sort of religion set up in Israel, and that becomes a major place during the kings, when the kings start to reign. So that's Judges. The bright spot in Judges is Ruth and Boaz, which we covered a little bit ago. But Judges it's a rough book. It's tough. It's the nation of Israel in the promised land and essentially kind of doing their own thing, and kind of like we are. They live life, ignore God, then get beat up by life, then seek out God, and then forget God, then get beat up by life, and then seek God. And it's kind of a familiar roller coaster. So I hope that's helpful. That's the book of Judges in a nutshell.